Let's talk about the markets in 3 minutes and start with your takeaways from the BOJ. So no surprises and actually not giving any guidance, even when things weren't necessarily anticipated. There was perhaps an expectation in some quarters that we might get some clues about when we might see a change of this negative interest rate policy and a move away from these ultra-low rates. But we haven't got much there, have we? What is your latest thinking about when we do get a change from the BOJ?
Yeah, Anna, the expectations for the BOJ were very low, and yet they still managed to disappoint and miss them, which I think really has been the BOJ story this year. And ultimately, I think we will see the BOJ change policy further, tighten policy further in 2024, and yet I think it'll still be disappointing. So those moments when it does remove negative rates, that will probably come in 2024, when it maybe abandons yield curve control. Those steps will see some powerful yen rally. It's probably the most consensus trade in FX going into 2024. People are bearish the dollar, but it's not as consensus as they have been in prior years. There's a little bit of more mix there. People are absolutely unanimously bullish the yen, and I'm very worried about that consensus because ultimately we're going to finish 2024 with BOJ having much lower yields than the rest of the world, but also much more negative real yields, and that's why I think yen will stay the world's funder, even if it has periods of extreme strengthening straight after those policy decisions in 2024. It'll finish the year weaker again.
And are there things you're still looking for from the BOJ then? I mean, Governor Kuroda is still speaking. We saw a brief bout of strengthening in the yen this morning after he made these comments that he sees positive, he saw positive comments on wages next year. And this, of course, having looked at some of the wage negotiations and many people were keen to get his views on that. But now we're back to yen weakening. I mean, is it the wage story? Is it his guidance on inflation we should be watching for?
I mean, the wage thing is really important because that's seen as the absolutely key dynamic to getting sustainable inflation above 2%. But of course, what does sustainable mean? We're going to be above 2 years above that target, by next year. And at a core level, we're way above it. We've been above 4% for a long period of time at core level. So really, it becomes very subjective. And while he made some hawkish comments on wages being near sufficient level, he then completely undermined that by saying they're going to move very carefully. They can't be sure they're going to reach target. They're going to achieve target. So I think he's just undermined all his hawkish message as well, which is why the market is disappointed now.
We're looking at the oil price fairly flat, but up at $78 on Brent. We're watching this as we head towards the end of the year with all the geopolitics in the Red Sea then, Mark.
Yeah, and in fact, actually, it's oil weakness recently which has kind of helped the yen trade because remember, it's a massive energy importer. So that's helped the yen strengthen recently and kind of helped the whole dynamic. But it's not going to feed into that sustainable inflation, at least at headline level. And also, it's not very clear where oil is kind of going into next year. We have those supply side concerns we talk about, but we are also worried about the growth side. So I think that's going to remain a real risk or unknown for the BOJ.